Nicolas Jackson, born June 20, 2001, is a professional football player, a striker for Chelsea. Born in the Gambia, he plays for the Senegalese national team. Height 1.88 striker, winger. After just a few minutes of communication with Nicolas Jackson, it becomes clear how in just 6 years he has gone from a street footballer to the leader of Chelsea's attacks. Jackson has a rare self-confidence, and his words are pronounced with complete conviction. "It was my dream from an early age to play in the Premier League, and now I'm here," he says quite sincerely. Maybe some people are shocked by this, but for me it's absolutely normal. I've always believed in myself. Jackson's early years were spent in the Gambia. It was on the streets of this West African country that his football education began. There were no coaches there. There were no requirements, no rules. Since I was a kid, I wanted to become a football player, the 22-year-old explains. But my family was more concerned about me going to school, and parents should be obeyed. He continues with a smile. "I've always played street football with my friends, you know. It helped me a lot, gave me a lot of freedom. I watched other players and learned on the field. It was very cool. I will always remember it." At the age of 16, Jackson moved to Ziguinchor, Senegal. He joined the local club ASK Thailand, which became his first club and his first experience of organized football. This decision was the beginning of the path to Chelsea for him. Jackson, given his talent, inevitably attracted attention, and trophies were won with Thielen. Soon there was an opportunity to move to a professional club. 22-year-old Jackson found himself in Europe only in 2020. Moreover, at first Villarreal sent the Senegalese to gain experience in the second division, in the Morans team, and then kept him in the farm club for a long time. In fact, last season was Nicolas Jackson's first fully spent at the elite level. Moreover, for most of it, the striker, who played only 3 matches for the Senegal national team, was very modest. But then something amazing happened. In total, Nicolas Jackson has 12 goals in the Spanish Championship. This is not an outstanding indicator the player took a place in the tail of the top 10. But the thing is that Jackson scored 10 of these goals in the last 2 months of the championship, in 11 matches. As it turned out, the explosion increased the demand for him so much that even a real football giant, even a crisis giant, became interested in the forward. Mauricio Pochettino is a coach who knows how to work with young players and make them progress. Due to tedious training and heavy tactical training, Chelsea is currently undergoing restructuring, which means Jackson and Fofana will have a chance to prove themselves in preseason and try to get a place in the bid. At the moment, Armando Broja, Christopher Nkunku, not a profile striker, Datro Fofana and Nicolas Jackson are guaranteed to remain at the club for next season. Right now it is difficult to choose the obvious first number of the attack, because the transfer window is still open. At any moment, Chelsea can target a ready-made top striker who can give results here and now. Probably, such an acquisition would be more necessary now than Jackson's transfer. In terms of price and future prospects, the Senegalese is a great deal. But after the departure of quality players from both the attack and the center of the field, this purchase looks a little impulsive. I will be very happy to make a mistake if Nico Jackson succeeds thanks to his hard work and perseverance. We will closely monitor his progress. Nicolas Jackson hit his face in his hands after a close-range miss in the match against Nottingham Forest, but there is no hiding from him. The attacker is under scrutiny. According to Opta, it was the 6th goal he has missed in 4 matches since his arrival from Villarreal for £32 million, 2 more than any other Premier League player this season. No wonder his figure is in doubt. Of course, a lot is being demanded from Jackson, a rookie of the Premier League, who will have to lead the team alone in the absence of the injured Christopher Nkunku and Armando Broja. But Mauricio Pochettino believes in the player. As soon as he gets comfortable in the Premier League, he will prove himself even more. I have no doubt that he can become one of the strongest strikers in the Premier League. We will speak differently in the future because he will score such moments as in the match against Nottingham. Indeed, despite Jackson's blunders, the Chelsea head coach can find solace in the fact that he is so often in the right place. Only 3 players have hit more shots on goal this season than Nicolas Jackson. If you do not take into account the penalty, then only Erling Haaland surpasses him in the number of expected goals. Jackson has not yet realized enough of his chances, but he regularly gets them. His average of 3.8 strikes per 90 minutes means that if he continues in the same spirit, he will be able to land more than 100 strikes this season. Over the past 3 seasons in the Premier League, there have been only 11 cases when players exceeded this figure in the number of strikes, and all of them scored at least 17 goals. The bottom line is that the number of strikes is a key factor for strikers, and the fact that Jackson strikes them, even while adapting to a new country, a new team and a new style of football, is a good omen. It is also worth noting that it is capable of high implementation. Last season, he demonstrated this at Villarreal, scoring 12 goals in just 603 minutes in La Liga, and at the same time surpassed his target in expected goals, showing the second largest positive difference in the league. His performances made Villarreal boss Quique Setien admire his exceptional qualities and his ability to make reasonable decisions in front of goal. Jackson's true level as a finisher probably lies somewhere between his contribution at Villarreal last season and what he is doing at Chelsea now. But at 22, with only 53 top-level matches under his belt, the potential for improvement is obvious, as is that he gives Chelsea not only a goal threat. Pochettino's high-intensity style of play requires speed and mobility up front. Romelu Lukaku would not have been able to provide this, so the club readily agreed to his departure, but Jackson can. According to the Premier League, he ranks first in literally all indicators related to races, which emphasizes his work speed. If you look at the numbers deeper, you can see the extraordinary mobility of Jackson. Jackson has made more runs without the ball this season than any other Premier League player. He also ranks first in offensive runs, which are defined as runs in which the attacker accelerates to the goal to, for example, give a pass. However, the most impressive thing is that Jackson also ranks first in the number of runs between the opponent's lines, which reflects his ability to strain and stretch the defense, as well as the fact that even in a new team that is still in the process of formation, his runs regularly become the target of passes from partners. However, Jackson's runs are not only aimed at getting him into striking positions, they are also a means of creating space for Chelsea's outfield strikers. This is another area in which Jackson excels, and no one feels its benefits more than Raheem Sterling, whose impressive start is largely due to his new teammate. Due to the fact that Jackson creates a lot of problems in the central zone, Sterling has become more fluent in possession of the ball on the right flank, often acting as the most advancing ball in Chelsea. Statistics highlight his transformation. Sterling not only hits and scores more often on average than last season, but also makes twice as many touches of the ball in the opponent's penalty area. Jackson's selfless movement allows him to move further forward, but it is also a consequence of the fact that Sterling manages to beat defenders better. Last season, he averaged only 4-3 one-on-one outs with defenders in an average of 90 minutes. This season, this figure has increased to 7.3 for 90 minutes. Jackson's presence allows Sterling to play at full strength again, and this is another reason why, despite the blunders, this raw but very talented 22-year-old deserves to continue working with him. Chelsea's critics may reasonably question the player selection strategy, which resulted in a player with his relative inexperience being the only striker at the beginning of the season. However, Nicolas Jackson should be seen as part of the solution, not as a problem. Do you know this football player? What do you think about his game?